Hey guys, I decided to put a little effort today. Just joking with you guys, but really. Anyways, so I think I have mentioned how I was job hunting and everything, and I had two prospects coming along, the cafe and this other place, right? Well, sorry, I'm fidgeting. I'm trying to get comfortable here. So anyways, I went and I started training at the cafe. That's where it starts. All right, so this cafe has been here for 35 years, something like that. And it's situated in the town that I'm in. And if you know, you know, right? So everybody that goes there, it's like two big families here. And they all own something or have their tentacles in something. And boy, the things that are going on are ridiculous. So I started training. And later on, I've never had unpaid training before. And I thought it was going to be paid training, and then it's not. And it's a cafe. It's not even a fancy cafe. It's one of those hole in the walls, but isn't good cafe. The only good thing is their old fashioned donut. And you go there and you have to stand there, for your shift and everything. And that's fine. It's a job. You can do stuff. But the only break you could take was a smoking break. Literally, they're like, yeah, you have lunch, but there's no lunch. Like, you can't go off for 30 minutes and have your lunch on 8-hour shift or anything like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna smoke, and I'm not smoking, but I'm just sitting out there, because that's, if you wanted a break, it was just you going to the bathroom. Otherwise, you had to be there, you had to be doing something. And I'm like, dude, I'm not smoking, but I'm just gonna sit out here and be like, yeah, I need one, right? And then I'm like, okay, so we make tips. And a lot of people, we're tipping and everything. And they're like, oh, this is for the new girl. And they put it in. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a new girl. And they put it in, right? So a lot of the tipping, that probably in their minds, is going to help me out as well, right? It's like, look, keep at it. You're doing a good job, whatever. So statistically, it would have increased some, right? They took the tips. I didn't get any, and it was just two people, me and this other person, and she took them. And then yesterday, which was my second day of training, I was like, do I get tips today? And she's like, no, because you're in training, right? And that's illegal shit. And I'm leaving. I left early. I only worked 5 hours because they were like, oh, you just work till this time and everything. And I'm supposed to be there at 6 a.m. For training, right? And then they're like, oh, you need to be here 15 to 20 minutes before 6 a.m. because we need you to do this. And I'm like, no, if it's involving the job, I'm there at 6, and then I do what you need me to do. And there's not even a clock in sheet, clock out sheet. It's just everything. The ladies asked for my ID. I'm assuming it's to put down on paper, and because I've had to give my ID before for jobs, and they just scan it, put it in their files and everything like that, right? Well, I go back to see what she's doing. She's taking a picture of my driver's license. So I'm gonna go make an appointment with the DMV and report it stolen. Well, not stolen, I'm gonna let them know what happened. I'm like, somebody has a picture of all my number, all my information. I need a new one. Because that's very scammy to me. And then they went and took all my tips, and I'm like, well, I was supposed to work today, but some stuff happened with the car. And I'm like, well, am I gonna get tips tomorrow? And this woman looks at me and she's like, maybe. So I'm just like, no, 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 no. This is illegal. And I'm having issues with the car and everything. And I'm like, it's not worth it. not worth it. You're taking my tips. You're taking pictures of my driver's license. You're only letting me on a break to like have a cigarette because you guys are smoking. They go out there and they'll smoke for like, you know, a good 15 to almost 20 minutes. And they're doing this like almost every hour. And I'm just like, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna take my lunch. Come on. So, and they're like, oh no, you just eat as you're working, you know, when there's no people there. And that's very not okay. Like even at McDonald's, you get a lunch and you can eat out there and eat your food and everything, but not here. And then I go, nobody washes their hands. So I'm reporting because I would hate to go to a place like this. And I'm going to report them. There's no slip mats in the kitchen. I almost fell. The counters are like tilted this way. There's unsanitary conditions. I was literally there and I was the only one washing my hands. They're like, oh, we need you over here. And I'm like, wait, I'm washing my hands. I just got done from the bathroom. They're like, oh, you don't need to wash your hands all the time. Just, you know, and I'm like, what? They're like, dude, you're just grabbing the donuts with the paper. And I'm like, but I came from the bathroom. So I'm going to wash my hands because I would not buy food from somebody who's going to the bathroom and getting me food, period. So I'm washing my hands. I'm looking. And so that made me start paying attention. Nobody's washing their hands. And they're counting money. They're touching food. They're going there. And then this is like a horror story. So we're making a meal and it involves gravy. The gravy, like everything is made early in the morning to use throughout the day. And then if you need some, you thaw it out and then you use it because we make big batches and then we just put it in the freezer. So it's fresh, you know? And then you just thaw it out. So this woman takes out this gravy that we made in the morning and she's thawing it out. And I'm not a chef, but when I reheat a liquid, I put it for a certain amount of time, I stop it, I pull it out, stir it, and then put it back in because of how it works, how a microwave works and liquids work, you know? And she takes it out and she's all like, you gotta be careful with this because the gravy will look like it's steaming, but it's not fully heated. And I'm like, okay. And she stirs it and then she's all like, and then she sticks her finger in it. And she puts it to her mouth. And she's like, and then sticks it again. And she's like, no, I need a little more. Puts it back in. Goes off for another 20 seconds. Brings it out and dumps it all over the biscuits. You know, because it's biscuits and gravy. And she's all like, here you go. And I'm just like flabbergasted, right? Flabbergasted. And I'm like, I'm already in my head. I've already been looking at everything that they're doing. I'm like, I have worked in catering before, which is different, but you know, you have your standards. And caterers do make tips. At least when I was doing it, I have worked in hospitality as a manager. I have worked at a cafe type of deal, vending food, being in charge of the bank and everything, because it was just me. There wasn't no one shift, two shift. If I was there, it was open. If I wasn't, it was closed. And I was in charge of money and doing all kinds of stuff. And we had certain safety, like the kitchen had to have non-slip mats. You had to have a designated washing station. You don't go and wash your hands where you're washing your dishes and everything like that, right? And you wash your pans and everything towards the end of the day, unless you're really slow and you keep an eye on the front. Well, there was no mats, no nothing, no station for washing hands, no sign, wash your hands before you go to work, nothing. And then that's all there. This is before I saw her dip her finger in and do all that stuff. I go and I'm like, where's the restroom? And they're like, oh, it's back there. So I go over there and I open it up. Y'all, it was like a sauna. The place, you know, there's air conditioning going. We're here in Louisiana. It's muggy, it's sticky, and it's hot. That bathroom, it was hot and muggy in that bathroom. There was no airflow. I look around, there's no vent. If you take a dump in that bathroom, it's staying there for a hell of a long, for the whole day. It's just there for the whole day. I couldn't even go to the bathroom there. I was so grossed out. And kid you not, you know those trash cans you get when you're in your home, how it's like a big black trash can, or those big black trash cans that people put outside their business to dump things. I'm not talking about the smaller ones. I'm talking about the big ones that kind of come up and then have a hole. Well, there was literally one of those right next to the toilet. There was maybe, if you sat down on the toilet, 3 to 4 inches between you and that trash can. And there was no lid on it. I mean, even if the lid part was on there, it's an open circle. There was nothing on there, just a big black trash bag. And it was filled with trash. And I'm like, what the fuck? There was no hand soap. There was no paper towels to dry your hands on. And the floor was filthy. Like, I was just aghast. I could not even, like, you know how they say, and I mean, this place has been there for so long and they're making money. You'd think they'd remodel some things or anything like that. No, nothing. And I just couldn't, like, I couldn't compromise because I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to be blamed for somebody getting sick. I'm not going to fall because of the hazard situations that are there. And then the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm like, I cannot work here. So it's been raining a lot here. We're in monsoon season or hurricane season. And it was raining, and the way it's old, the way the place is built, the water can come up to the door. So we're there. Everybody already had their meal. They were all at the counter eating because it's like a cafe style, right? Like the old cafes. And they're all eating, and then they start talking. And these are patrons that they have already told me have been coming there for like over 10 years. And one of them, if you don't like racist things or anything, just leave right here. Because this is what they were saying. They're like, oh my God, it's raining so much. Ha ha ha, thank God you can swim. And they're like, I've heard Black people can't swim. And then they all crack up at that. And they're like, yeah, me too. And they're just laughing. And I'm looking at them like, what the fuck? How, if you make a joke like this at any other place, you'd be fired. You'd be fired. And this was said while the donut guy was still there, and he's African American. And they're saying this just like they're being boisterous about it. They're not quiet. Even the fact that they said it's just like unbelievable. And they're saying it there. And then the guy was running late making the donuts and everything. And they keep on complaining about him. And they're talking about how, why is he here? He should be done by now. We shouldn't have to be working with him. And I'm like, the man is right here. I'm looking at them and I'm like, he's right there. And they're like, yeah, I don't know why he's getting hours. And just, I have never been in such a racist place. And then this Hispanic guy comes in, and they probably didn't say anything because they're coming from the oil factories, the refining factories. So they're coming in and they make a lot of business for them, right? And it's like a whole bunch of them, and maybe only one of them really knows English, like how to speak it. The other ones seem more like they understand it. So I see him struggling, and I'm like, oh, ¿quieres esta? And I talk to him in Spanish, and so he opens up, and he's like telling me his order, and I'm writing it down, and I get it for him and everything. And then they're like, oh, you speak Spanish? I'm like, yes. They're like, and then they proceed to say, you're Mexican. And I'm like, no, I'm from Nicaragua. That's Central America. And they're like, close enough. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What the fuck? So that's why I'm making a report. They're not just a hazard. They are like dirty. I have been in a place that was strict OSHA, and there is nothing. They don't even have a letter depicting what their rating is. And there's like, I have never been to an establishment that has such poor quality of working environment and just like poor hygiene. It's horrible. And I'm 44 years old. I have done lower work, from working at McDonald's to being in charge of like a lot of money and in charge of other people. And this is just crazy. And this lady is like, none of them act like it's wrong. And they're so inappropriate. They're like cursing and saying all this stuff right there, like right there in front of the people. And I don't care if you're mopping the floors, if that's what you have to do, you have to do it, you know? People got to make a living. But there's a certain level you got to hold yourself up to. Like, you don't have to be talking trash or be talking down at people. Just do your job and be courteous. That's all there is. And it just wasn't there, you guys. I have never been like, these people are trashy, but this is literal trashy people. They're racist, they're dirty, they're bigoted, which, you know, and they're robbers. They're literally stealing money right from under me with the tip situation. So, and they're connected because this family knows this other family, and they like talk about it openly. So I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not gonna work here. And it's just ridiculous. I'm sorry. If you live where I am, you probably know of this place. It's at a corner. It was the only cafe really there until more things are coming into the town and being more developed. And then there's more things that are clean, I'm not ragging on the town. There's beautiful houses here. There's all kinds of stuff. But this place, no. The people and the way it's run, it's unacceptable. And just the fact that they're openly racist. I can't. So, all right. That was my spill for today. I just, just because you need money or I need an income right now. But people also have standards. And it's not like, oh, I'm above it, but I am above bigotry. And I am not going to stand by it. And if I work there, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be like, oh, I'm okay with it because they're paying me. I can't do that. I don't support it. Now that I know, I'm never going to go there to buy the one thing that I would buy there, which was the donut. And that's kind of it. So I'm sorry. I'm upset. I did my makeup though. So I hope you guys enjoy this tea talk, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.